Welcome back, boils and ghouls, to the Theater of Blood horror show.
Welcome, welcome.
We are here live for you. This is Tony.
This is Matt.
And tonight, the moon is full. I don't know what the moon is tonight, but here at the Theater of Blood, the moon is full. We are going to talk about werewolves.
I thought Anthony was going to moon me there for a second.
No, I might. I still might. Tonight the name of this episode is By the Light of the Silvery Moon, Werewolves in Film.
And we'll be discussing all werewolf films, not every single one that's out there, but the ones that hit us.
We're not talking any Twilights.
No Twilight.
But wait, that was my number one.
Yeah, I was saving the best for last.
Team Jacob. Is that the guy with the no shirt?
I think so.
I don't know. Team Kristen Stewart, if I had my choice.
Team none of them?
Yeah, really. Team never saw one past the first one, thank you.
Yeah, Kristen Stewart is pretty, but she doesn't do anything for me.
No,
she's
she
not
doesn't.
memorable in any way.
No, she's not. She's like a talking cardboard box.
Yeah, no booty. I'm a booty man. I'm an ass man. So.
Me too.
Yeah. Nope.
And on that subject...
Right.
And on that subject, let's start. Where's the best place to start talking about werewolf films?
I guess we can kind of knock out some of the films where werewolves are present, but not the main feature.
Right. Well, I really think we should start in 1941, because that's where they all started.
Yeah, that's true. Universal.
Little ditty called The Wolfman, Lon Chaney.
Not Junior, Senior.
No, that was Junior.
Oh, no, it was
Junior.
Junior.
It's Junior, right. Yeah. Senior was dead by then.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, The Wolfman, still my favorite of all the Universal monster films. All of them. Still my favorite.
I would agree.
It has the ambiance. It has the ambience. It has the, everything's foggy and moonlit and woods and old gypsies and
premonitions.
Beware the moon. Yeah.
Very atmospheric.
Yeah, and it's perfect. And to this day, the makeup holds up. He's frightening.
Yeah.
He's a frightening looking dude in that makeup.
I mean, even so much so that when you had Stephen King's It come out, the made-for-TV version, that is the style of the werewolf that they emulated.
Yeah. It.
Yeah, and It. When he goes into the basement.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I forgot about that.
The werewolf in the Letterman jacket.
Yeah.
Which was a lot scarier in the book.
Yeah.
So let's hope for the
come on,
any
It
fans out there.
Let's do it.
The new It is coming out this year, the first of 2 films. So
they better hope the first one's successful.
God, I'm so hopeful and scared.
Me too.
Probably my favorite Stephen King book. At least the one that terrified me.
It's in the
most.
top 10, yeah.
Yeah, it's the one that scared me the most. I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite.
We'll see.
It possibly is.
But The Wolfman, it's a perfect movie.
Yeah.
And it's quick. It's like 90 minutes, maybe a little less. It's no muss, no fuss. He comes home.
Yep.
He gets bitten by a wolf. He turns into a werewolf. Does a couple things, they kill him.
Yep, and then gets hunted down by the town.
Yeah.
And
it's great, and there's guns and pitchforks and torches, and it's got everything, and it's just such a good... I watch it every Halloween season, even more than I do Frankenstein.
Which they did do battle at some point.
Yeah, they did Frankenstein versus the Wolfman, which is also a good movie.
Yeah, it was solid.
I want to say that's 44. Am I right?
Yeah.
I'm going to change that to 43.
43.
Yes.
And strangely enough, the Wolfman was the one character that wasn't kind of parodied. I don't know if you want to say parodied, but redone over by the Hammer films.
Actually, he was, and I've got that coming up for us.
Oh, okay. Do you?
Well, let's jump right to it. What else can we say about the Wolfman?
Yeah. Well,
it's a masterpiece. It's one of the best. It's iconic, and it started it all for werewolves on film.
And if you're going to Universal monsters, then they're all icons.
They're all icons, of course.
They really,
lest we forget the Invisible Man,
Dracula,
Creature,
Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Mummy.
The Mummy, yes.
All the greats.
Yeah, it's just everybody has their favorite. Most people say Frankenstein and or Bride of Frankenstein, and those are both masterpieces. But But my favorite is always has been the Wolfman. There's something about that. It's the perfect horror, black and white, bowl of popcorn in your lap, all the lights off, classic horror film for me.
Right, and it's the evil from within. You
Yeah.
know, it's this normal guy, you know, carrying actually a good person.
Yeah.
Who is
he doesn't want to be the
enslaved
beast. Yeah.
by the beast inside him.
And trivia, I know you know, but for all those who don't know, who plays the werewolf that bites him?
Oh, that's right.
Come on.
Oh God, I know it. It's Bella.
Bela Lugosi.
Bella.
You're right.
Bella.
Yeah, I knew you'd get it. I knew you knew it.
Well, I knew it was. I'm just like, come on, I know it. Yeah, Bela Lugosi, who of course was famous for being the first Dracula. If
Yes.
you don't count Nosferatu.
One of the
they had
best
to rename him.
Draculas. Not my favorite Dracula, most people's, but Christopher Lee is my favorite Dracula, but that's another show.
Yeah, I love Christopher Lee. God rest his soul.
Oh,
Another one of last year's rapings for us.
oh my God.
But
That was 2015, actually.
yeah, but you
Wasn't it?
wouldn't have Christopher Lee. I thought Christopher Lee was last year,
I think it was-
beginning of last.
I don't know. You might be right.
And
But that's a good lead-in.
yeah,
Christopher Lee played Dracula for Hammer. To answer your earlier question, Hammer did Curse of the Werewolf,
oh, that's right.
directed by the great Terence Fisher, the greatest Hammer horror director of all of them, starring Oliver Reed.
Oliver Reed.
Oliver Reed was the what? You've never seen it?
No, I haven't.
It's so good.
Huh?
It's and he's a beast. I mean, he's still in clothes,
right.
but you know, like they do, they rip through the. But he's like full of hair everywhere, chest bursting out. He's a beast, man.
Good transformation.
Yeah, he is. And of course, Oliver Reed is a great actor. And no, Curse of the Werewolf, is it a masterpiece? No.
But solid.
But very solid and one of the best werewolf movies ever made. So there's your homework.
I'm gonna have to go and check that
You
out.
gotta check it out. And guess what? It's from '61, by the way. It's very bloody.
Oh yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing that werewolf face just
yeah,
brought
yeah.
it all back.
Oh, so you have seen it.
Oh, good God.
Yeah. It's fantastic, man.
Yeah. That was the other face of the werewolf, and that was the one that was more emulated in the Monster Squad.
Yeah, you're
opposed
right.
to-
He looked more like Curse of the Werewolf.
right, as opposed to the Universal style.
Exactly. Yeah.
There was also another old black and white werewolf movie titled The Werewolf,
Ah.
which I know you were a lesser fan of.
That's what we were talking about.
Ah,
The movie, The Werewolf.
The Werewolf, right.
Yeah, no, I hate that movie. It's set in like fucking
California Hills. or
California Hills in
Yeah.
1950 in a small town. It's ridiculous. You really like that?
something. I liked it okay. I mean, you know,
Ah.
I was just surprised it had escaped me for so long before I saw it on Channel 20 one day. Remember Channel 20 movies?
I'm from Illinois,
Oh.
so no.
Yeah, I guess not.
I remember Channel 11.
Remember? Oh, yeah, you also had USA
Up all night with Rhonda Shear
Yeah.
and Gilbert Gottfried eventually.
Oh yeah, and oh good God, the best of them all, who was there and then went to TNT and a few other places.
Joe Bob Briggs.
Joe Bob Briggs.
Drive-in theater.
I love you, Joe. If you're still out there, if you
He's
happen to
still
listen
out
to
there.
this-
He's a friend of me on Facebook. Friend of me? That's incorrect.
Friend of I.
Friend of I.
Friend of I.
Friend of mine.
Nah, Joe Bob Briggs, hilarious. Love
Yeah,
your
he's
cameo
wonderful.
in Casino as well.
Oh, he's great,
Oh,
isn't he?
dang it!
No, I'm sorry. Speaking of the Wolfman, just very quickly, we must address the 2010 remake of the Wolfman.
As much as I wanted it to be good, as much as I respect the actor who wanted it done
One
so
of the best
badly
actors
that he
ever.
threw his own money into it.
As much as I respect them bringing Rick Baker back to do the wonderful makeup
Effects.
work,
Yeah, the film was.
and even getting his throat bitten out on
Yeah.
screen,
And you have the father character and Anthony Hopkins.
that did not work for me. Once he turned into,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I did not like. I'll go as far as to say I hated it, and it's on my worst of 2010, my top 10 worst films of 2010. It's
you had
just
the
horrible.
bar set so high.
Yeah, the bar set,
original.
and I remember, hearing Del Toro talk about it, and I remember seeing a online they released a photo of makeup. Rick Baker and Del Toro in the makeup chair, goofing around for the camera. And, man, I just can't wait. And Del Toro said it's his favorite horror film, by the way,
Right.
of all time, Benicio Del Toro's. And he just has such respect for it, and I can't wait. Directed by Joe Johnston, who did The Rocketeer, which I love The Rocketeer. A lot of people don't. Apparently, you're not on the bandwagon either. Yeah. And for better or worse, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and the first Captain America film, which I love.
Oh.
But yeah, and he just dropped the ball on the remake of The Wolfman. My dad loves that movie. He bought it
The remake
on Blu-ray. Yeah, that's awful.
I didn't care for it.
I hated it, and I even rewatched it when it hit
like
cable.
It better the second
I'm
time.
like, well, maybe I missed something.
Yeah, because sometimes you'll find something on the second watch that you didn't get the first time.
Yeah, I hated it worse. I wish I would have never watched it a second time, because now I just absolutely despise it.
There was no single memorable point for me.
There wasn't.
I can remember most of the story. I can tell you pretty much how it goes, but no scene stands out. There was no one redeeming point. Like,
No.
but at least it had this.
No, and the tragic love story with
Yeah.
Emily Blunt was tepid.
Forced.
Yeah, and Hugo Weaving wasn't even very good.
Yeah.
He was doing a British Mr. Smith or Agent Smith or whatever the hell. Mr. Anderson, you're turning into a werewolf. Yeah, I know. I didn't like it at all.
No.
Mr. Talbot.
No, not very good.
Mr. Talbot, I understand you're a werewolf. This ends tonight. Yeah, I hate
Watch out for Neo.
it. Right, yeah. Oh.
By the way, I'm an elf.
Yeah, that's right. And I cross-dress with Guy Pearce. It's a shout-out to Adventures Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. How about the Company of Wolves?
A Company of Wolves, very enjoyable.
I love that movie. It's Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, it's Little Red Riding Hood, but it's told through different segments.
Directed by the once great Neil Jordan.
Yeah, it was Neil Jordan, and some great transformations.
Wonderful transformations.
A very fairy tale, dreamlike quality to it.
Yeah. Was that an episode of Murder, She Wrote? No, I'm sorry. Angela Lansbury was in it. That was a little joke for you 80s people.
For the probably the truest of the Red Riding Hood stories.
Yeah.
But it does away with the subtlety of Red Riding Hood being a story of a woman or a girl coming into womanhood, basically being a euphemism for menstruation and things of that nature, and being able to.
I never caught that.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, folks.
But in this, it's just like
everybody out there. What?
Yeah, it's like this is about turning into a woman, getting feelings, getting your time. And really well done, and neat story right from the beginning. The little girl going to sleep in her quasi-castle and then just projecting out the window. And, and just goes from there.
And if I remember correctly, a great score. Like very old-fashioned. I can't remember who did it, but if you'll bear with me. Great old-fashioned score. And the set design was just phenomenal.
Yeah, not quite Tangerine Dream, but it had that synth style, dreamlike quality to it.
Yeah, it was very good. George Fenton. George Fenton was the one who did that music.
Oh, George Fenton.
Matt doesn't know George Fenton. He's a British composer.
Right.
He's done some stuff. Yeah.
Hey, well, I like that movie. So
I
guess he did all right there.
No, but yeah, it's a damn good movie that nobody talks about anymore.
That's true, and
it was very popular at the time. And then when it hit HBO, forgive me, I'm almost a decade older. When it hit HBO in '85, it was you go to school. Did you see Company of? Yeah, it was just the talk, and then through the '90s, just poof, gone.
Yeah, it didn't have the staying power. I mean,
no,
it has a cult status to it. There are. Fans of it are true fans of it.
Sure.
But
I'm one of them.
It's not something, you don't see it pop up on Netflix. You don't see it pop up on Amazon.
You don't.
I remember seeing that cover at my local video store.
Yeah.
back when
the mouth coming through the face.
Yeah, the mouth coming through the face, and
sure.
This is back when you had your smaller video stores still. This is before.
I miss those days.
There was first Errol's was the big one, and then Errol's pretty much lost out to Blockbuster, which lasted until those type of stores just didn't exist anymore.
Right. Yeah, back home we had
selling porn.
There you go. Back home we had Video Review and Carnival Video.
Mine was Video Outlet,
which all lost out to Blockbuster and
Right.
Family Video. That was it's a Central Illinois thing, I think, right? You didn't have those?
Didn't have
What
those.
was the other one? There was another
There was Errol's
chain
around here, and then there's Purplepotamus around
Purple
here.
Potamus. I remember when I first met my wife, she told me it was purple. For those of you who don't know, we're on the East Coast, folks.
Yep.
Purple Potamus turned into something. What was the other big video store? Big chain. It was one of the. It ended after Blockbuster.
Ended after Blockbuster.
Yeah, they were all over the place. A big chain. I can't remember.
Well, I remember Errol's, but that was pre-Blockbuster. They pretty
I've
much
never heard of
most
that.
of those locations turned into Blockbuster.
But no, Company of Wolves. It's one of the best movies. And for those of you who don't know, I about said Dean Martin. I need to focus. Neil Jordan, directed The Crying Game, Interview with a Vampire, so many more underrated films, and then apparently went to shit. But
and disappeared.
Yeah, it's a very good movie. And anybody who likes good horror films and good werewolf films.
Right, and you can't just pigeonhole it as horror. It's an art film.
It really is.
There is emotional parts to it. The different segments, some have a little more of a fear aspect to them. Some have far less.
Yeah.
But there is an ominous tone of dread throughout.
There really is. Yeah, you're right. I'll give you that.
Solid choice. You beat me to it. That was definitely on my list.
Oh, good. Right on. Well, how about one of my favorites that you can argue they're not really werewolves, they're lycanthropes. Which is kind of the same thing, but a lycanthrope can change, I think, when they want to. They have to go through a ceremony, and it's very...
So as opposed to, By the Moon, it's more of a willing change.
Yeah, more of a, and this one...
lycanthrope comes from lycanthropy, which is what they used to call werewolves.
Right. No, I know, werewolves. But this one, it's Native American wisdom kind of thing, and it's in New York City, and it's from 1981, and it's directed by Michael Walde, who directed what? Woodstock, starring Albert Finney and the great Edward James Olmos and Diane Venora. Wolfen. One of my, I'm not kidding you, it's in my top 100 favorite films. I love this movie.
Wolfen's solid. It was kind of in that time period that you had...
Early James Horner score, excuse me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Gotcha. It is in that time period that you had some interesting horror films come out that had something to them. They were a little more for the mainstream. They weren't just back alley horror movies.
Right.
It was a deeper story, better actors, very well done with camera work, things of that nature.
Yeah.
And Wolfen is a solid one.
Wolfen, it's so good. It is so good. I tell you, I could do this whole show on Wolfen, but I won't. But I mean, it's for those of you who don't know, Albert Finney is he a detective? I can't remember. It's been a while. Anywho, he's on the case. There's mutilations, and he stumbles across Edward James Olmos and his fellow Native American guys who are working on high-rise buildings, a construction crew. And at night, they do their ceremonies and become wolves. Only they don't become werewolves. They become wolves.
Yeah, like full-on
They
wolf.
shapeshift into real wolves.
Right.
And at the same time, they're thinking, well, there's some renegade wolves loose in New York City. Nope. It's a bunch of construction working Indians.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I mean, it's deeper
than...
than...
back at the white man.
Yeah. It's a little deeper than I just put it. And there are some serious scenes of creepiness in that movie.
Yeah.
Especially in the end sequence. I won't tell you what happens, but when he's in a empty high-rise at night and confronted by 3 or 4 of these wolves staring at him in the face, and he's got to try to get out of it.
Right.
Yeah, it's just, I can't say it enough how much I love Wolfen in look, in screenplay, in performances, in music. It's one of the best films of the 80s. It's a great, great film. Is it a horror film? Kind of. It's kind of more of a thriller.
Yeah.
But
like I said,
with horror elements in it. There's a guy that gets his head bitten completely off. It's fantastic.
So there's that horror time period where it is horror because its root is there, but it was better made.
Oh yeah.
Better actors.
Oh yeah. It's
deeper plot. It's more to it.
And the first film from Gregory Hines. He played a coroner.
Oh really?
And Tom Noonan. Tom Noonan as well.
Danny Noonan.
Noonan. Yes, no, it's Wolfen, 1981. It's on Blu-ray. It's on DVD. Please, people, discover Wolfen. I think it was made a little money back then, but then, you know.
No, one to check out, though. Definitely.
Yeah, Wolfen is excellent. I love it. Did you have another one you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, you lob it over to me. This is another one from the 80s, written by Stephen King, based off a serial that he had called Cycle of the Werewolf. And in the movie version, it was called Silver Bullet.
Silver Bullet.
Silver Bullet, starring Corey Haim and Gary Busey.
There's a goddamn werewolf out there.
Now the story...
And Everett McGill.
And Everett McGill as a very, very creepy, at least when he's in human form.
Yeah, he's more
antagonist.
Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it, but I'm sure most have, or at least read the book. It's not supposed to be known that he's the werewolf. He ends up being the werewolf, but he's more creepy as
the priest,
as the person, than he is the werewolf. Anyway, go ahead.
And there's some great scenes. Corey Feldman, no, sorry,
Corey Haim,
the other Corey, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Corey Haim is a wheelchair-bound adolescent. This was pre-Lucas? Or right
85, same year.
So same year as Lucas. So if any of you have seen Lucas, imagine him the same age. Wheelchair-bound, runs into the werewolf by chance out on a dock, manages to wound his eye with a firecracker, and thus is able to figure out who he is in human form when that person shows up with an eye patch. It's a neat story. The werewolf, unfortunately, the transformations are bad, and the costume...
The transformations are horrific.
And the costume just looks like a teddy bear. It's not scary. There's nothing scary about it.
No.
He
looks like you could just rub his fur, and it looks really soft.
And he'd start shaking one leg or what have you.
Yeah.
And it really screwed up what otherwise would have been a great horror film. Had they made him menacing looking, it really would have added that something that I think would have made it more something that could stand the test of time.
I agree.
Instead...
Yeah.
But go out and read Cycle of the Werewolf. That's a great one.
And you know what? I like Silver Bullet.
It's good
for its low budget cheesiness.
But it's a solid story.
I shouldn't say cheesy.
It's written by The Godfather.
It's only
Stephen
Brando.
King.
Oh.
Godfather horror, baby.
Yeah. James Brown. Hollywood Video was the name of the other video store chain I was thinking of.
Okay.
It just came to me.
Yeah, Hollywood Video.
Right. These people can see through me. I looked it up while we were talking. Hollywood Video.
Like folks. He does every time.
Right. Sometimes, though, I don't need it. As the years go on, I'll be looking up more and more stuff.
But isn't it fucking sad that we don't spend the time to try to remember anything anymore? We give it like 2 seconds, and then we go, okay, Google, tell me the answer.
Well, here's the thing. I'll be 48 this year. There's my excuse.
Well, senility's starting to set in.
Okay, so...
By the way, put your pants on.
That's not true at all. So we're talking about vampires.
Or werewolves.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. No, Silver Bullet's a great one. And here's one that we don't have to spend a lot of time on, but I do think it's underrated, and I do think it's worth a shot. Directed by Eric Red. Bad Moon.
Bad Moon, solid. I mean,
Michael, don't call me Pere.
Yeah, I think it was based off a novel or a short story called Thor.
I think Eric Red wrote the short story, I believe.
Did he? Okay.
I think. I don't know. Don't quote me.
And it was based off a short story called Thor, which, of course, is the name of the German Shepherd in that movie. And for me, I had a German Shepherd growing up. It is my favorite breed of dog. I love them. They're intelligent, protective, sweet, cute, everything, and can be intimidating. And
yes,
and of course, you know, it's a big one that stands up against this true werewolf.
Yeah.
Which is played well. Transformation is solid.
It is solid. It's really good.
Yeah, and the werewolf in wolf form looks menacing. It has those evil features to it.
I agree. And forgive me, Eric Red only wrote the screenplay. It's based on a Wayne Smith novel.
Okay, Wayne Smith.
Titled Bad Moon.
Was it titled Bad Moon?
Yeah.
I thought it was called Thor.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah.
Thor.
Novel. Thor.
Just came to me. Right. No, It's Thor.
I knew that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Bad Moon. It's. I tell you, Eric Red is a guy that I like. He's a screenwriter and director. He did very quickly, a highly underrated movie called Cohen and Tate. Roy Scheider and Tate. Roy Scheider and Adam Baldwin are two hitmen, and they got a kid in tow. And it's a really good movie. Two rival hitmen, by the by.
Okay, gotcha.
But I mean,
one gets eaten by a shark.
Right, yeah. And then when Scheider shoots him, he says, "Smile, you son of a." But no, Eric Red. He's done other movies, Body Parts.
Okay.
Which
and about the killer that's trying to put his body together. Together
Jeff
again.
Fahey.
I remember that.
Yeah, me too. The original Hitcher, which everybody likes but me.
You don't like the original Hitcher?
I don't.
Howard?
Me and Roger Ebert and myself are the only ones.
But just
didn't like it.
The
I'm sorry, Eric.
Ends, you know?
No, I'm sorry, Eric. Yeah. I like your stuff. He co-wrote The Great Near Dark. He co-wrote Blue Steel, which used to do great work with Catherine Bigelow.
Near Dark came up in our discussion
of
female horror directors. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Strong film.
Strong film and strong director.
Yeah.
But no, Bad Moon. It's a solid movie that for some reason went straight to video. 1996.
Yeah.
Mariel Hemingway, Michael Pere. It's a good movie, and like you said, once he's a werewolf, he's creepy.
Yeah, he's good.
He's really creepy.
And you can tell that he really does have the best intentions in mind. It's basically a brother and sister that haven't seen each other in a long time. The sister now has a young boy and a family and a dog. No husband. I don't know if he had died or left. Well, I can't remember. But the brother shows back up kind of out of the blue, says he needs her help, and he disappears at night.
Yeah.
And you come to find out it's because he's trying to protect his family. He's literally handcuffing himself to a tree every night.
He's trying to literally come to terms with what's... Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... I like it.
Yeah, it was a good film.
It's a solid, strong, on my 5-star scale, a very strong 3 stars for me.
Yeah.
It's really good. And you know what? He's not De Niro, but I've always had a soft spot for Michael Pere. He's been in some of my... Walter Hill's Streets of Fire is one of my all-time favorite movies. He's the star of that. He was Eddie in Eddie and the Cruisers. Yep. I don't like that movie, but I like Michael Pere in it.
As the character.
Yeah.
As Eddie.
But yeah, no, Bad Moon. It's a good werewolf movie.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. It's
solid.
Small story. It doesn't try to be anything it's not. Doesn't try to, be too inventive. It's just a good old-fashioned werewolf story.
And And speaking of, you hit the nail on the head, by the way. That's it. It doesn't try to change the genre.
Right.
It's just, here's mine.
Right.
Eric Red, here's my werewolf film.
Like my next mention would be something that tried to do something different with it, be inventive. But still, I thought was a decent movie overall. A little bit action. Dog Soldiers.
Love Dog Soldiers.
Yeah.
I own Dog Soldiers on DVD and Blu-ray. I love Neil Marshall.
Yeah.
Hollywood has turned his back on him. He's doing nothing but TV work right now. Please bring him back.
Yeah.
Between Doomsday, between Dog Soldiers, and the amazing The Descent.
The Descent.
For God's sake. He's a master of horror. He truly is.
And he was starting,
genre.
And he was starting to get mentions as such.
He was.
Yeah.
And Doomsday, you saw Doomsday.
Yeah.
Please say you did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in one movie. He tips his hat to John Carpenter, to George Miller's Mad Max films, to horror films, to sword and sorcery,
everything.
To Death Ray, everything. And it's Doomsday is one of my favorite movies of recent memory. It is so good.
And I agree. Like, it definitely had that. I don't want to call him steampunk because it's not, but it's that. What am I trying to say here? I'm thinking of not Outlander. The second Mad Max. The
Road Warrior.
Road Warrior.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's the whole last half of the movie.
Yeah, the Road Warrior-esque. The way they dress, the whole style to it.
And the opening.
Escape from New York.
The opening font is John Carpenter font. Yeah, and in the opening it even says the year and says now, like the opening of its. Yeah, I mean the whole movie is a tip of the hat to every genre film and filmmaker that we love. And and The Descent, without getting too far off base, is one of the best horror films, I'll say it, ever made. It is amazing.
Yeah, very terrifying. I love it. Plays with what you can't see.
He should get a show. Neil Marshall should get a show.
Yeah.
He's that good, I think.
Solid. And Dog Soldiers?
Dog Soldiers, the werewolf film. His first movie.
It was his first, and it's fun.
It is.
It's a little bit scary.
A little.
It's more. It doesn't focus so much on the scary, but the werewolves are menacing.
Yeah, they are.
They're big.
They're big,
they're powerful.
Yeah.
They're smart.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to hunt in a pack together.
Yeah.
They work towards a goal. They're not just mindless beasts.
Right.
And,
it's kind of a British Southern Comfort.
Right.
Walter Hill's Southern Comfort.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And they're on maneuvers, and instead of running into Cajuns, they run into werewolves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the back country was Scotland.
Scotland.
Yeah, in Scotland. And they were a British army troop on training.
Training on, maneuvers.
And then,
it's not. Here's the thing, in my opinion, Descent and Doomsday are masterpieces of genre. It's not a masterpiece, Dog Soldiers, but it is a great movie.
It's a
fun great movie.
Watch.
It really is.
You'll be entertained through and through. It does a lot of inventive things. Transformations are good.
They are good. And they're and I'm glad you said that. They're big. They're big.
Yeah, they're
large.
Burly.
They're
large
burly
werewolves.
and big. Yeah.
Large.
And they're on their hind legs and they're tearing people apart.
Large wolves.
Yeah. That's a great one. I love Dog Soldiers. Yeah. I was gonna bring it up later, but I love Dog Soldiers. Another one that I like a lot, I forgot to mention, it's from the 50s. 1950, I'll say 3. Werewolf of London.
I have not seen the movie, but
it's
I know
a good movie. Henry Hull, the great actor Henry Hull, character actor, lots of westerns. And like you said earlier about Bad Moon, it's not trying to reinvent the genre.
The wheel.
He's a Brit scientist.
Okay.
He becomes a werewolf, does some werewolf stuff, dies at the end like they all do.
I'm a werewolf and I do werewolf shit.
Yeah, right. But it's a good movie. I mean, it's solid. It's not gonna, it's not the Wolfman, and it's not the big two that we'll end with tonight.
I'm pretty sure I know where you're going with those two.
But it's
they came out the same year.
It's exactly. It's really good, and it's 1953, so he's going. He still has clothes on. It's just the face and the hands. He's got the teeth protruding up over his lips, and he's got the pointy ears and
the underbite.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't think of that word. The teeth that are under and come up. And his face isn't as wolfy as Lon Chaney Jr.'s.
Right.
But it's a solid werewolf film. I really like it.
I I'll have to give that a watch.
Yeah, Werewolf of London, I'll say 53, but I could be wrong, and I'm not going to look it up because we're done talking about it. No, Werewolf of London, starring Henry Hull. Very good movie.
We'll check it out. I'll mention this, not necessarily one of my favorites in the least bit, but it is a werewolf film, so it should be talked about. Cursed.
Okay, yeah, well, good, because then we'll follow that up with another one I can't stand. Yeah, Cursed, Wes Craven, 2005 or 6.
Yeah, even the beautiful Christina Ricci could not save that film.
Could not save that film. I don't think Martin Scorsese could have saved that film.
It was a weak story.
I don't mean to talk ill of the dead, but
it cashed in on the whole
Scream.
Teens loving horror.
Well,
thing.
it was written by Kevin Williamson,
right,
who gave us Scream and
right.
changed for worse Hollywood horror films at that time for a very long time.
The reason Scream worked is because it was a parody. You can't
exactly
keep that going. I mean, sure, they got 4 sequels out of it. Or 3 sequels.
Yeah.
But to try to take that same premise and run into a different type of film just doesn't work. It failed. Centers around teenage emotions and dances.
Yeah. We don't need emotions in our werewolf. No, but no, you're right. Cursed is a bad movie, and I saw it. I hated it, and I read that there was a director's cut that Craven preferred. And then when he died, out of tribute, I gave it another shot. The director's cut. Nope. Nothing helps. Nothing helps.
Yeah,
it's a bad movie.
It's just not entertaining.
No. And so we can knock that out of the way.
Yep.
I've got 2 more bad ones for you.
Go for it.
An American Werewolf in Paris.
Oh.
It's an abomination. An abomination.
Its biggest drawback was
everything
relied on computer graphic imaging.
No, the special effects were horrid.
It looks like there's normal people running and then a video game werewolf in the background.
Yeah, it's just terrible, and the transformation is ridiculous. I hate the lead actor, Tom Everett Scott. I couldn't believe Julie Delpy was in that. Yeah. The great French actress Julie Delpy. Yeah, no, do you have anything else to say about that one?
No, we can.
Right.
Enough said. It happened in Paris.
One more shitty vampire movie.
Vampire?
There's a whole series of them.
The vampire?
Both.
Okay.
Underworld. I hated it. I never saw past the first one.
Yeah, but they're not horror films.
Well, they're werewolves and they're vampires.
Right.
So we have to talk about them because I don't want to do it again when we do a vampire show.
That's true. I guess
let's get it out. Yeah. No. You know what? When I go see The Matrix, I go see The Matrix. When I go see a movie about warring vampires and werewolves, I don't want to see The Matrix again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I got.
The whole secret society.
That's ridiculous.
The one thing that was all right about the film was that when the old vampire was woken up, he was hella strong, and that was a neat concept. But
actually, my favorite moment of the movie was when it was over. I really did. I mean, I know it's probably not as bad as I say it is, but I feel it's that bad. I hated it.
That's Kate Beckinsale, right?
Kate Beckinsale, who I can't understand what kind of actress she wants to be. She does some serious work. She does Underworld 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
No.
I don't know. No, I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it, and damn it to hell.
And there's other things werewolves pop up in. We're going back to Lon Chaney, and we missed Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein's monster. We should have mentioned that.
Yeah, we could mention that on 3 different shows.
That one of my favorites. Probably the single film that got me into the Universal Monsters and maybe started my love for horror movies altogether.
Oh, I tell you, when I was young, I watched that 100. I own it on Blu-ray now.
Yeah.
We got our son into it. I remember very quickly when I had my tonsils out. I was in 3rd grade, and I was terrified. And my dad spent the night with me in the room because the next morning they were getting me up to do it. And that night, on Channel 11, KPLR-TV, St. Louis. Abbott and Costello meets Frank. So I remember it's a great memory. My dad sitting in the chair. I'm in my bed in a dark room having a little ice cream and or Jello, I think, and watching Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein together.
Yeah. I remember sitting down in my rec room with my brother and my pop watching it, and immediately resonated with me.
Yeah.
You know, you have your Van Helsings where they have werewolves pop up here and there, but that's not a good movie.
Oh, Van Helsing sucks. Over, done. Moving on.
Had a werewolf in it.
Right, yeah.
And then you have, your series, Tales from the Crypt. I can remember a few interesting werewolf stories. One in particular, the adopted kid in the mansion who's always left alone. Trying to fatten him up, and then it turns out that the owners are vampires, and they're chasing the kid around until the kid goes, "Oh, I'm a werewolf, and I'm going to eat you instead."
Another one I didn't really like, but it's not a bad movie. Some people in the horror realm like it. It's called Where, W-E-R, directed by William Brent Bell. It's a found footage. Did you ever see it?
Yeah, I
it's
saw
foreign.
Yeah, I saw the previews for it. I did not see the film itself.
Here's something. See it. It's got a few good moments. It's not that good. Nah, don't see it. I changed my mind while we were on the trashing werewolf movie.
Never mind.
Yeah.
And then you have your Ginger Snap series.
That's very good. Ginger Snap series. What you were speaking of earlier with Little Red Riding Hood, Company of Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
It's about becoming of age, becoming a woman. Ginger Snaps, to me, is the most successful horror film to deal with that. I mean, there's, you have your Carries, you have your Alice Sweet Alice's, you have lots of things that parallel coming of age.
Carrie would undoubtedly be number one then.
Yeah.
Ginger Snaps is good, but, Carrie was huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd put Carrie at number one.
Well, that's good point. Maybe I should say as far as monster.
No, actually, it was Jennifer's Body.
Oh my God. The 1-2 sexy punch of Megan Fox and Amanda Seyfried couldn't save that one.
Yeah.
And I tell you, very quickly, it was written by Diablo Cody, Juno. And a couple other things.
Jennifer's Body or?
Jennifer's Body.
Okay.
I'm tired of Diablo Cody. I like Juno. Her dialogue is phony. I'm tired of her. Go away. Anyway, okay. Ginger Snaps is a damn good movie. And I love the lead actress who was also in American Mary. She gave a great performance. The first one's the best one.
There are three, correct?
Catherine Isabel, by the way. I didn't say her name. There are three. The first one is the most successful, in my opinion.
Story of two sisters that care for each other a lot. One becomes a werewolf, and the other is tries to
figure out what the hell's wrong with her sister. Right? Yeah. The second one, it's okay. The third one is the flashback. Is
that the one set in the past?
Yeah. That was the least successful for me.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, well, you have the same actresses, but supposedly they're alive hundreds of years earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It didn't work. No. But no, I don't own it, but I would own Ginger Snaps. I like it. It's a good film. Directed by John Fawcett. Very good film.
I suppose...
Is that it for Ginger Snaps?
I guess so. I mean, I thought it was solid.
No, it is a good movie.
It's a good movie,
There's a werewolf movie that I don't like, but it's good for... I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No,
Were you finished on Ginger?
Go for it.
We had that little pause there. I thought we were... There's a werewolf movie I like, or I don't like, but I've seen it twice because it's so B-movie cheesy, it's ridiculous. Big Bad Wolf. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, God.
Where the stepfather... Is he a stepfather? Yeah. With Richard Tyson is a wolf. It's so dumb, but he can talk as a werewolf, and they're trying to make him Freddy Krueger. He's always saying these quips. It's not good.
Quips and one-liners.
It's not good, but it's entertaining. If that makes any sense.
I got you.
But here's the thing. Don't see it, people. Don't see it.
Really
it's not that good.
It.
But it has a couple funny moments in it.
I got another one that hit well and had one of the best actors of our time, Mr. Jack Nicholson, in it.
That was my next, Wolf.
Wolf.
Directed by one of the, rest in peace, best directors of all time.
Yeah.
Mike Nichols. Do I Need You? The Graduate. So on, so on, so on. The very underrated Catch-22, by the way.
Fantastic book as well.
Yossarian.
Very hard to read.
Yossarian. Anyway.
Wasn't the chaplain Anthony Perkins?
He sure was.
Yeah.
And Bob Newhart and Orson Welles and Art Garner. Yeah, it's such a great... Everybody, on our werewolf film, we are telling you, go see Catch-22, directed by Mike Nichols, 1970, starring Alan Arkin. Wonderful movie. Great, if messy, adaptation of the great Joseph Heller novel.
And the Joseph Heller novel is fantastic.
It really is.
It's a difficult read at first because timeline jumps around.
Yeah, it does.
So you have to just go with it, and then you will start to pace where the timelines fit.
You can read it, but you can't read it.
Yeah.
See, it's a catch-20. Anyway, back to the werewolves. In 1994, Mike Nichols did Wolf with Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yep. And
with a very creepy score from the great Ennio Morricone. Yeah. I like it. I don't love it. James Spader.
James Spader is the antagonist. Yeah.
I don't love it, but I do like it.
It's entertaining. It's an older editor at a prestigious editing firm is kind of getting pushed out because of age, and the young blood is coming in, and just so happens to get bit by a werewolf around this time, which gives him vitality. And he comes back strong, and he's like, fuck it, I'm keeping my job, and I'm going to kick your ass while I'm at it. And, what can you say? It's got Jack Nicholson in it. Does it,
And he's, what a great choice for a werewolf, right?
Oh, yeah.
Jack Nicholson.
Jack.
It's Jack.
Great job. I love when he turns around and pisses on James Spader's shoes.
Yeah, and he's, what are you
doing?
Marking
his territory?
Marking my territory. Yeah. It's not a horror film. It's more of a dark, comedic parable about big business and corporate, monsters. Wolves of Wall Street, if you will. They're not on Wall Street. But.
Right, I would agree. But it also had a very classic Wolfman feel to it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
He's worried about what he may have done. There are people that are being killed, and he's like, my God, am I doing this? But it's also one of those that goes on kind of the premise that you are the same in wolf form as you are in human form. If you're a good person, you're probably not doing bad shit. If you're a bad person, you probably are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. It has, we can do spoilers on a movie that old, 1994. James Spader turns into a werewolf as well.
Right.
And they have a really it kind of doesn't work, but it kind of works. A really cool battle at the end.
Yeah.
And they're flying through the air.
Jumping really high. A lot of trampoline work.
Yeah, they really pull out all the stops on this. And they're old-fashioned werewolves. They still have their shirts and pants on. And
Right. It's not like, full transformation. A snout sticks out of your face or anything.
Yeah. But it's a solid movie. 3 stars.
Yeah. Worth a watch if you haven't seen it.
It really is. Good. Mike Nichols, even when he fails, he makes classy films. He's one of the best directors ever. So, and you have Nicholson and Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
See it.
Yeah. And
damn you.
And Michelle Pfeiffer is one of the most timeless women for class and beauty.
She really is, and an underrated actress, and does not get the parts anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
She only had a couple Oscar nominations.
That's the way Hollywood
That's the
rolls,
way, right? She crossed 40.
Yeah,
she's out of there.
And she'll be out of work for a while until she gets older.
And then she'll get great parts. Right, exactly.
As an older person.
That's what happened to Ellen Burstyn. One of the biggest actresses of the 70s. Like, she was a marquee name. 80s and 90s, nobody gave a shit. 2000s, she's back. Requiem for a Dream and on. You know, she's respected again.
That's
Boy, is that a feel good
right there.
Jesus, Requiem for a Dream.
Darren Aronofsky has created some of the most unsettling films. All of them I love.
Oh.
All right, so Pi is
okay.
a weird movie. It's
good.
Okay. But
Requiem is his masterpiece.
Requiem is his masterpiece. The
Keep
Wrestler,
going.
masterpiece. I know you don't like it.
Fuck Black Swan.
Black Swan is fantastic.
Nope.
It's the biggest movie he's had.
I'm the only
you're the
one
only
that doesn't like it.
It's the biggest movie he's had.
I kind of like Noah.
I still haven't seen that.
You know what my favorite movie of his is? The one that nobody likes, The Fountain.
Huh.
That's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh.
It made me weep. You didn't like it?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah. I wept.
Huh.
Jesus wept. Isn't that the end of the Bible or something?
Wept.
I don't know.
It's also the end of Hellraiser.
It is. You're right. Yeah.
When he gets pulled apart.
I prefer Hellraiser. The Bible's boring. I buy more of what I see in Hellraiser than I do in 5 pages of the Bible.
There goes Anthony on his religious hunt again.
Did somebody say Trump?
No.
Like, don't
bring up. Talk about real life horrors.
Don't bring up Trump around Anthony. No, Wolf is a good movie. There was another low budget one, Late Phases, Curse of the Werewolf, about a blind werewolf.
Yeah, I remember Curse of the Werewolf.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Somewhat entertaining.
Yeah.
Monster Squad.
Monster Squad has the Wolfman in it. And he's kind of a cutesy Wolfman as well.
Yeah.
Played by Laszlo from Real Genius.
I love how he gets sliced apart and he pulls himself back
yeah. By the way, Monster Squad is my Goonies. I think we've spoken of that before.
And you know what? Wolfman has nards.
He does. Wolfman has nards. All right. That brings us to, I believe, am I correct here?
I mean, we've kind of... There's other things we could talk about.
Do you want to bring up something about a TV show?
Yeah, there have been other shows, but there was one in particular that was a very short-lived one-season show that I believe first aired on Fox, if I'm not mistaken. 1987, Werewolf.
Yes.
It's worth it, especially the pilot and the first few episodes before they tried to keep it not, I don't want to say sitcom, but they, keep the story going. A lot of them kind of feel like filler episodes. He ends up in a different town, meeting new people, and somehow the only people that he manages to kill are bad guys, and
of course,
and it's all completely
kind of like the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, it's just like I just happen to run into the bad guy when I'm ready to change and help a family out while I'm doing it. But the beginning is really cool. Transformations in it, especially for a TV budget, are very good.
Yeah.
Werewolf versus werewolf. The antagonist wears an eye patch, very much like
Everett McGill. Yeah.
Everett McGill in Silver Bullet, and is every bit the creepy antagonist that Everett was. And he's an old fisherman, seaman, who has his boat docked, and you can tell he lives a life on the go. And
go ahead. Yeah, it was a 1987 TV series.
1987. 8.2. Look at that.
Hey.
Yeah, definitely worth a watch. And
Chuck Connors. Good old Chuck Connors is in it.
Chuck Connors.
I'll check it out. I will.
Yeah,
I was supposed to do it before this show, but I ran out of time.
Yeah, bounty hunter who's chasing him. The head werewolf that he needs to catch up with and kill to regain his humanity.
Okay.
Good little show.
All right, I'll do it. I promise.
All right.
And another not so good little show that only lasted one season was Wolf Lake. Lou Diamond Phillips.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about that.
Small town.
Yeah, full of werewolves.
Yeah, it should have been great, and it wasn't because they spent... I think they spent too much time trying to say, hey, we can be Twin Peaks with werewolves. But the drama was too soap opera-esque.
Right.
If you will. Yeah, it didn't work.
And so it made a premise that no one bought.
Right, exactly. Which, I believe that brings us to... what I think you and I are in I'm a gazillion% agreement on the two best werewolf films in movie history, and they'll never be toppled.
I don't believe so, and they both happen to come out the same year.
Same year.
Very different transformations.
Directed by two of the best genre directors working.
Right.
Joe Dante, John Landis.
Yep. And let's start with Joe Dante's because there are quite a few sequels that we can talk about.
Oh yeah, okay. Yep. No, that's fine. Hey, The Howling, 1981.
Joe Dante.
Joe Dante.
Starring the beautiful,
wonderful,
amazing, famous, in everything in that era.
Hopefully on this show this year, Dee Wallace. At the time, Dee Wallace Stone.
Yep, that's true.
She's married to Christopher Stone, who was in The Howling and played her boyfriend.
Played her boyfriend in The Howling.
Yes. Unfortunately, rest in peace, died of a heart attack.
So, basic premise, news reporter needs... Now, is she on a story or?
She's on a story about these serial killings. She meets Robert Picardo, the great Robert Picardo, Joe Dante mainstay. Eddie.
Yeah.
His calling card is the smiling faces. Mm-hmm. Quick side note, Your Honor. Sidebar. I bought a Howling shirt at one of the horror conventions from Dee Wallace.
Huh.
She signed it.
Awesome.
And put the smiley face on it. I've never worn it. I will never wear it. It's just,
that's a keepsake.
It's a keepsake.
Yeah, once the signature goes on, it's time to be retired. Unfortunately, you never got to wear it first.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to. But no, Eddie with the smiley faces, and she tries to figure out where he's from, and he's killed in front of her, shot by police.
Right.
In mid-transformation, but she doesn't know that. And it's a cult, right? It's a cult up in the Pacific Northwest.
I believe it is Pacific Northwest.
Bunch of good old boys hanging out, having a good time.
Big barn. Have cookouts and big fires.
Sure,
yeah.
Yeah, they're all werewolves.
All of them.
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
And I tell you, it is one of, along with the other one we'll bring up, and I think anybody listening knows what the other one's going to be, the most amazing transformation you've ever seen. Well, one of two. And it's two of the same guys who worked with each other. Rick Baker did the other one, and Rob Bottin did The Howling, who studied and came up under Rick Baker, and he went on to do The Thing, so on.
And Rob Bottin and Greg Nicotero.
Greg Nicotero was a part of that crew,
came up under Rick Baker, and then they started their K&B, which was,
and unfortunately, they're not called for a lot anymore.
Well,
in these
Greg
days
Nicotero has found.
Well,
he's found his
at
mission,
home on The Walking Dead,
and that's just killing right now. So
it is.
He's found himself steady work.
I'm tired of Negan. I can't take Negan anymor.
Plus, he directs quite a few.
No, I know he directs a lot and co-writes some
and
as well.
And I have caught up. But Negan's so bad that you want him gone, which means he's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, no,
acting.
I'm just getting a little tired of his. The way...
But if you really think about it, he's only been in 2 episodes.
Oh, he's been in way more than that. You're not caught up.
Oh, okay, maybe I'm not.
Yeah, no, he's been in a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Elizabeth Brooks, who died at age 46 in 1997, she's the... I can't think of her character's name.
Oh.
She's kind of the slutty, gothy... Marsha Quist. She has the great line in the movie when she goes to order a cheeseburger at the bar.
What? Make it
How
rare?
Do you want that? Make it rare. Yeah. She's the one that seduces Christopher Stone, Dee Wallace's boyfriend. No, it's a great movie. It's Joe Dante always has little tips of the hat because he loves the Looney Tunes. He loves the old cartoons, and he always had tips of the hat to that. There's really not any tips of the hat to that in this. This is, it has
kind
some...
of like he did in the Twilight Zone.
Oh, sure, yeah. That was his ultimate tip of the hat, yeah.
To the Looney
That
Tunes.
and Space Jam.
Did he do Space Jam?
No, he didn't do Space Jam. I actually meant to say Looney Tunes the movie. He did that.
Okay.
No, it's a terrifying movie. The transformations are terrifying. You know?
Especially the main transformation, the first one you really see on film.
Yeah.
When he corners Dee Wallace in the office, that little office room.
Sure.
And he's smiling at her, and then...
Oh, see, that's a great line, because at the beginning it's Eddie again.
Yeah.
At the beginning we mentioned he's shot and, quotes, killed by police. She sees him later. Like weeks later at this resort, and she's freaking out, and he's turning and he says, "I want to give you a piece of my mind." And he pulls the bullet out of his head, out of his brain that he was shot with. It was fantastic, because you can't kill unless it's a silver bullet.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's a terrifying sequence, and the big joke is she just stands there watching the whole thing.
Right.
Instead of running away.
Slowly
Yeah.
But
the transformation, the skin's bubbling. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like it hurts.
Yeah, but he enjoys it.
He gets off on
it.
He's a psychotic.
Through the whole thing.
He's a psychotic killer.
Yeah, and he's enjoying the fact that she's seeing it and she's freaking out, and
right.
And a good tall werewolf, and the makeup effects were really good.
They were excellent. They were groundbreaking at the time.
Yep.
Never before, this movie and the other one we're going to talk about here.
Yeah.
Never before have we seen the
hair, and
it never looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
People always just laid there or jumped around going, ah, ee, ooh.
Yeah.
And then they look up and, ooh, I'm a werewolf now.
Yep.
You know?
Huh, huh, huh.
Right. And by the way, we should mention that it was written by the great filmmaker John Sayles, one of his horror scripts to fund his own independent movies.
For the
Howling
screenplay.
Yeah. But the novel was Gary Brander.
Yeah, Gary Brander, who did the 3 novels in the series.
Yeah.
Howling 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And then going from there...
Well, wait. There are moments in The Howling that are as scary as any horror film you've ever seen.
I would agree.
I mean, there are terrifying moments in that.
That scene in particular, it will make the hair, stand on end in the back of your neck.
I agree.
You're just screaming at your TV like you're in a ghetto movie theater, like, bitch, get out the room.
You're right. Yeah.
Bitch,
exactly.
run.
Yeah, man. No, The Howling is a masterpiece. I think it's my favorite Joe Dante film. One of my all-time favorite horror films. It ties with the very next one in my top 10 favorite horror films. And groundbreaking in so many ways. So many ways.
I would agree. Fantastic.
And
it spawned a series.
It sure did.
Most of the series is direct-to-video.
It sure is.
The vast majority of the series. There are 7, I believe. I think there might have been an 8th revamp that was done not too long ago, that they were just trying to cash in on an old name. But let's see. You have The Howling, and then The Howling 2.
Your sister is a werewolf.
Is a werewolf.
Which, is it a bad movie? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it unwatchable? No.
Actually, I think it's very watchable. It has a fun factor to it.
Remember, we're going to have Sybil Danning on this show at some point.
Yeah. Sybil Danning is gorgeous in this movie. And
just beautiful.
I will say, the ending credits realized she was the most beautiful thing in the movie, so they proceed to have her ripping her top off. I kid you not, 17 times.
That's a little.
17 times.
It's the great Reb Brown from the John Milius movies, and Christopher Lee.
Yep, and Christopher Lee plays Sybil Danning's brother. And he's been hunting his sister for quite a while. Mm-hmm. Finally gets the lead that he needs, and moves in for the kill with the help of these 2 young, female, male characters.
Like the Brad and Janet of the piece, if you will.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they really are. They don't do anything. She ends up getting kidnapped. He goes and helps them out. But Christopher Lee does all the badassery on his own.
Sure.
And there's a little bit of there's a little bit of like vampire-ish stuff going on.
There's kind of a cool transformation pseudo-orgy scene.
Yeah, where she just gets really kind of hairy and has teeth, but otherwise looks like herself.
Yeah.
And there's a guy there, and they bark at each other, like the black chick and the dude. And that was kind of...
its original title was Werewolf Bitch.
Yeah, Werewolf Bitch. And
which I wasn't aware of.
I love that she's also somewhat of a sorceress.
Yeah.
She is like a queen. Oh, well, she reads that like little incantation thing.
Yeah, you're right.
And then the midget guy's eyes blow out, which is just awesome because his eyes just blow out of his head.
I know.
And then he shows back up later as like a little zombie guy that she's controlling through her magic. And she has a castle and she has huge orgies at her place and everything, and she's almost like a Dracula character.
I will say I am not a huge fan of the film, but I would own it.
Yeah,
because it's got so much craziness in it. The director, Philippe Morat, he'd done a lot of Australian films. He did one of my favorite sci-fi horror movies with Christopher Walken from '89, Communion.
Okay, yeah.
Really good movie. Nobody ever talks about that. It's creepy. It's weird. It's strange. Damn good movie. And kind of without the creepy, Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf.
It pretty much relies on, okay, we have this Van Helsing type character in Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
And he's a badass.
Mm-hmm.
And you have Sybil Danning, who is gorgeous, and they try to show her as often as they can with as little as possible.
Exactly, and she actually gives a fun performance.
No, she's solid. I mean, those two are the redeeming qualities of the film.
Yeah.
And what else is there to really say about it?
Nothing.
It's fun. It's fun.
It is fun. It's where the first Howling, and by the way, Joe Dante had nothing to do with any other Howlings. Where the first Howling is groundbreaking and well done and well cast and well acted and frightening and neat and cool. The Howling 2 is just B-movie fun.
Right.
In title only, B-movie fun. Yeah.
Well, let's roll on
to the Howling 3.
Came probably my least favorite between this one and the seventh one.
And we should probably zip through the sequels so we can get to the big dog, if you'll forgive the pun.
Yeah. So the next one is Howling 3: The Marsupials.
Yeah.
Which is stupid, and it's the first one where it's a story where you're supposed to be sympathetic for the werewolves and the werewolf clan.
Yeah.
They're not that bad. They're okay.
Yeah.
It's all set in kind of between the U.S. and Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And it's trying to round them up, and they carry their young in little pouches. That's why they're called the marsupials. It has werewolf nuns that actually have nothing to do with the main plot whatsoever.
Not at all.
And it goes absolutely nowhere.
Nope.
There are just scenes of them just running around in the desert and for long periods of time.
And don't forget the last shot of the tiger.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. the Australian, wolf.
Yeah.
that they're descendant from.
Mm-hmm.
Just absolutely horrible.
It's crap.
Then you go to the fourth one.
The original Nightmare.
The fourth one was at least a return to them trying to be scary again. The second one was kind of fun.
Mm.
Didn't take itself too seriously. The third one tried to be quasi-emotional and just ended up failing in all regards. The fourth one, at least they tried to get back to horror.
And very quickly, the director, John Ho, of the fourth one, did one of my all-time favorite horror films, Hammer, with Peter Cushing, Twins of Evil, about two possessed sisters. And Peter Cushing is a witch hunter, a devil demon hunter. And he's always on horseback with his two henchmen. It's a great film, but it's not cheesy. It's serious and violent and sexual. Great film, Twins of Evil. Anywho.
Okay, so John Ho. What can I say? This was supposed to be the movie that told the first true book of The Howling as a more faithful telling.
Yeah.
I've heard conflicting reviews of that. I have not read the book. I can't give you an honest opinion on it. I always like to know things as fact before I say them. But that was at least the log line they went under. That was the guise they went under. This is the more faithful telling to the original story.
Right.
But it is similar in that a couple ends up in a town that is infested with werewolves, which you don't know at first. Basically, she is a writer, and she's been suffering nightmares about an old nun, and goes to that town to relax.
Yeah.
And, of course, her husband ends up being seduced, much like the first Howling, by a werewolf woman who converts him. The most redeeming thing in this movie is a very unique transformation. When he finally changes,
it is that
he literally melts, a la Fright Night, walking up the stairs, henchman, a la Street Trash, a la
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. He literally melts down into a pool of goo and then rebuilds as a werewolf. The werewolf makeup is a little rubbery, but they had some decent menacing looks to them.
Yeah.
And,
I didn't like it.
And ultimately, it goes back to a church at the end, and if you ring the bell at this church, all the werewolves, which at this point all look like regular wolves.
Oh, they're just
wolves.
hairy people.
Yep.
Oh, you mean yeah.
Yeah, they all look like dogs except for the old man who's the doctor, who apparently was the master of them all.
Right.
And and they proceed to light the old church on fire after they tracked everyone with the bell, because if you ring a bell, every werewolf in town will come running to it. And so they burn it down, except for the very, very last frame of the movie is the old man werewolf jumping out of the fire right in front of her face, and cut to a freeze frame, roll credits.
It's cheap, it's low budget, it's crap. It's not good.
Not good. We'll roll right on to the fifth one.
Yeah.
Probably.
We need to move out.
Probably the second best, if not third. If the fun factor of the second one, your sister is a werewolf, probably beats it out. But the third one is a close contention for second best. It wasn't
of the sequels.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't blasphemous.
It's not. No, it's not. And you're right. Yeah.
It's video. It's extremely low budget, but it was done with an interesting style to it. There is the very opening scene is in Budapest. There's a castle. Everybody has drank poison. They're all dying. There is a last couple, and they're like, we have to do this. We have to end the curse. And he sees his wife. He's like, the baby, and she says, the baby's dead. Now take me. And so he proceeds to stab his sword through her, then turn around and stick the sword with both of them together, like shish kebab through his stomach.
It sucks.
Lays down. He starts dying. And he hears a baby crying, and he's like, "Fuck! You left her alive. You left the baby alive. We did it. We all died in vain." So fast forward to the future. All these people that have a certain mark on their hand are called back to this castle. They all get back to the castle, and you find out that this count, this werewolf hunter, has kind of called them all there to figure out who's the werewolf and eliminate the curse in the bloodline.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, but then the werewolf is kind of savvy and starts instead picking the people off one by one, a la a very, darker version of Clue.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
And it has a castle as a background, so it's a decent background.
It didn't work. It's not good.
I like it.
Okay.
I mean, it's probably the second best of all of them. It's the only other one that actually gave me a creep factor. The ending of it scared me and my brother as a kid.
Yeah.
When she turns and smiles.
Yeah, I didn't dig it.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, Yeah, but you're right. It's not as bad as 3 and 4.
Yep. Then you got 5.
Then
which
you have
is centered around a freak
that was
show.
5.
Oh, sorry, 6.
6. The Freaks.
Yeah, centered around a freak show.
I think that's the last one I saw, and I don't think I finished it.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Long story short, the guy who runs the freak show ends up being a vampire. You have a vampire-werewolf fight.
Yep.
And the 7th one, New Moon Rising, is just crap. It's fat old white people doing country line dancing. There are no werewolves in the fucking movie. They don't, no, like almost never. Everything is done with camera work, running up on people, and they go ah,
wow.
And that's fucking it.
That's sad.
It was terrible. I could make a better movie with a camcorder. And then apparently I think there was one called Reborn, but I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Howling Reborn?
Yeah.
Oh my God, let me tell you. Yeah, I haven't either. I don't care. All right. It's just too bad, whatever the varying degrees of success, that they just didn't leave The Howling alone. You want to make all these other movies, then call them Your Sister is a Werewolf, The Marsupials, The Original Nightmare, The Rebirth.
Right.
Don't tack The Howling on it to try to get people to see it.
Yep.
You know,
chasing the almighty
don't
dollar.
do that. You know, it's like if I made a movie, a low-budget film about a Wall Street broker who decides to kill his wife, and he's on the run from the cops in New Mexico, and I call it Die Hard 7 Wall Street Broker Killer. You know what I mean? They're just going to go see it because of that, right. And there's some cops in it. Other than that, there's no link to Die Hard. So, what's the moral of this story? The Howling, Joe Dante's 1981 horror masterpiece.
Yeah,
is the one to see.
It's you have to see that one.
If you haven't, and you're a fan of horror, if you have not seen The Howling and you're listening to this show,
yeah, turn us off and go watch The Howling.
Stop it.
Yeah.
You can finish this show later. We've only got about another 10 minutes left on it. Anywho, go watch The Howling right now. As I'm speaking, you shouldn't even be hearing this. You should have already said, okay, shut it off. Go see
like
The Howling.
That last episode of Letterman, when they're like,
yeah.
Conan and everybody was just like, look, why are you even watching us right now? Go tune into Letterman.
Yeah.
He's the best. He's been doing this for a long time.
Exactly.
He gave me my career. Go tune into him.
Yeah. So The Howling, 1981, groundbreaking masterpiece werewolf film, directed by Joe Dante, written by John Sayles and Terrence H. Winkless.
If you're a horror movie fan, watch The Howling. You have to. If you're a horror movie enthusiast, watch Howling 1, 2, maybe 4, 5.
If you
skip
just
all the others,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
just not even worth it.
Yeah, but The Howling, the original, is side by side the greatest werewolf movie with
my favorite. I love The Howling, and I'd put it at number 2, and this one.
I was going to say, if I have them both together, but if I was forced at gunpoint to pick one, I would also pick the 1981 John Landis directed
An American Werewolf in London.
Yes.
The best.
One of the best films ever made. And we'll probably mention this on another show that we've talked about doing, comedy and horror.
Yeah.
The all-time perfect balance of gut, stomach-hurting laughter comedy,
yeah,
and tense, extreme terror horror.
Because the comedy doesn't feel forced.
It's not
situational, and it's dialogue-based.
It's exactly
so
it's
no
situational.
Slapstick. There's no.
It's out of the characters.
Yeah.
It's not making fun of the film itself.
Right.
It's not like winking and nodding at you, like, hey, huh? You get that?
It's just dark and shocking that you're like, huh, oh my God, I can't believe I'm laughing at that, but it's kind of funny.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Having a conversation with your dead best friend and some of the other people you killed in a porn movie theater.
Exactly.
You know, of all places.
Yeah, and he's introducing him. David, this is Abe Froman? And he's introducing him like they're at a dinner party. Yeah. No, An American Werewolf in London. It's ridiculous that we even have to do this.
Yeah.
It's about two backpacking American college students who
go into the moors.
They stop at the Slaughtered Lamb.
Yeah.
And a British pub, yes, a British pub, and
it's a true. Let's see, John Landis also did Animal House.
Yes.
So a throwback to Animal House, walking into a bar and everything goes.
yeah. Everybody looks like.
Kind of did that.
But yeah, and they're told when it's time for them to go, they're told. They see a 5-pointed...
Stay on the path.
Yeah, they see a 5-pointed star on the wall.
Right.
And they're like, stick to the roads, lads.
Stick to the roads.
Beware the moon. And, of course, they start walking and talking, and it's starting to rain a little, and they said, hey, they stop, the two of them, and they say, hey, didn't they say stick to the roads? Oops. They look down, they're deep in the moors. They're deep. It's dark, there's a full moon.
Yep.
And they're attacked by a werewolf.
And you great
brutal
sound effects.
Yes.
You hear it growling and walking in the background.
Yes.
You hear it howling, and you know it's circling them.
Yeah.
You haven't seen anything yet.
Right. That scene that he's talking about is one of the most terrifying scenes in that scene. I'll do a comparison for you. The scene where the two of them are lost on the moors in the moonlight, and there's a wolf out there in the darkness circling them, is in comparison, in my opinion, to the opening 20 minutes of the original When a Stranger Calls. You are just riveted to your seat. You can't speak. You can't move. You're terrified. And John Landis, great director that he is, and he is, did it all with sound and camera. He never takes the camera off of David Naughton, who plays David, and Griffin Dunne, who plays Jack.
And I'd say one of the reasons you're glued to your seat and you're so white-knuckled terrified is so often, as the viewer, we can see the choices that the antagonists or the protagonist should make.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, we'll just start running or do this, do that. And if you ended up in that situation, it's just like, well, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? You're out in the middle of the desert. You can't run from it. What do you do? Stick together. All right, they are sticking together. Stand back to back and look out for one another. They are doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, God, and one of you is going to die. Yep, one of you died.
Yep, yeah. And it's one of the most popular movies ever. Jack dies.
Yep.
Jack gets torn apart and ripped to shreds and dead. And then David gets bitten, scratched and bitten. And
then the townspeople show up.
Yeah, and they shoot.
Much because the old bartender lady was like, "You're going to let them boys out there by themselves?"
Yeah.
And they proceed to go out, and they get it before it can kill David, even though it's already slain.
And then when he gets in the hospital, and everybody thinks it's a maniac.
Look over when he looks over at Jack, and he sees Jack's throat is gone.
Yeah, and then he looks over at the beasts. No, he looks over at the beast that attacked him.
And it's a human.
It's a man.
Yeah, it's a man.
Because once you shoot a werewolf, he turns back into.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I tell you, it's David's adventures in London trying to figure out, am I a werewolf or not? Yeah. And he goes home with the amazingly, can I tell you, Jenny Agutter. She's a good actress, and I've always respected her for that.
And it's hilarious that she's just like, "Hi, I met you for 10 seconds. Do you want to come back to my place?
You want to come live with me for a while?" Yeah. How convenient. But
you hunky American boy, you.
Such a beautiful woman, and so sexy.
Gorgeous.
You get to see it all together in this one.
Yep.
Right. No, but and then of course he starts getting visited by Jack, which is where Rick Baker really comes into play here. And Jack comes 3 times, and each time he's more rotted.
Yeah.
He's a corpse. But he comes back from the dead to warn, or he's the undead.
Yep.
And he has the great line too, Griffin Dunne. His throat's all skin hanging. He's like, "I'm one of the undead." He's like, "Are you a ghost?" "I'm not a ghost. I'm one of the undead." "You ever talk to a corpse? It's boring." He's like, "You gotta kill yourself, man."
And kill yourself.
Yeah. He picks up that little Mickey Mouse. "Hi, David." Yeah. No, it's creepy. It's funny, and that's the great thing about the Griffin Dunne scenes.
Yeah.
When Jack comes back, they're creepy, they're grotesque, and they're funny. Because all at once.
The character who played Jack was his comedic timing was perfect.
Yeah. Dunne.
Yeah. It's there's other creepy things to the film. He has a dream where his family is slaughtered by Nazi werewolf monsters that are somewhat decomposed and have werewolf features but aren't full werewolf.
Let's not ruin this, even though everybody probably knows it. There's a dream sequence in this that is the greatest dream sequence in movie history.
Okay. Yep. Yeah.
And then Oh, thank God.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not
like a double push.
Yeah, it's fantastic and terrifying.
Yep. Also, a quick side note: during that moor scene where Jack is slain by the werewolf, Rick Baker had made the head, and it was like basically a set of clamps, and he went to attack him with it. And the first time he attacked Jack kind of like grabbed the skin off the face and de-skinned the whole thing.
He ruined it.
And
Griffin Dunne screwed up Rick Baker's monster.
And so Rick Baker was so pissed because it took him hours to redo it. He's like, I'm going to get him for that. And he's like, I beat the hell out of him with that thing.
Yeah, I bet.
And he's like, if you see him like screaming, that's because I was there at chomping.
Yeah. And that's a great, I'm glad you said that. That's a great death scene. Because usually in monster films, whatever the monster, when somebody, you get the initial scream and then they're like, Griffin Dunne is like, oh my God, it hurts, help, give me. And he is dying.
Yeah.
He's being torn apart.
Because, I mean, so many horror movies, apparently if you get stabbed in the stomach, you just go, and then you die. Can I tell you? You don't bleed out.
I pricked my finger on a thumbtack before. I thought I got shot in the face. You know what I mean? I can't imagine getting stabbed in the stomach. The noises I'd make.
But you look at any horror movie, any of these slasher movies. They walk up, they stick a knife in the person's gut, and the guy goes, and then they're dead. That fucking doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. No, but Griffin's Dunne's death scene is horrifying. And then, of course, the moment we're all waiting for, Rick Baker's groundbreaking effects, again, along with Botine's work on The Howling.
That transformation is the best.
It's groundbreaking on many levels, the way they did it, how they did it, what they did with it, but it's
John
the
Landis's
only one.
Go for it.
It's the only one ever to this day, I think, where it's in, because they're usually in the moonlight, in the dark. He's in the apartment. All the lights are on. It's in full view.
Right.
Full lighting. No shadows. Nothing's hidden.
Right.
You're watching, and they do close-ups. They do full shots.
You see, it literally comes out of nowhere. He's kind of happy. He's been laid.
He's hanging around
the girl that he's with, and he's
hanging around.
Yeah.
He's reading a book.
Right.
And he just all of a sudden, it burns, and he rips his And I tell you, to this day, I'm amazed when I see it.
Yeah.
To this day, it's an amazing transformation. It hurts. He's yelling.
Oh,
you see the bones change, and
the way they pulled that hair, like in.
Yeah.
And then shot it through. So the hair is just like, pouring out of his chest.
And watching his elbows and knees turn into the whatever you call them on the werewolf.
His
feet stretching out.
Yeah.
He's on his back. He's on his side. He's flipping over. He's in the camera. You see, they show in full light every inch of that transformation from man to beast.
Right.
And it is, and you're right, even over The Howling, still the most amazing film transformation, werewolf transformation ever. Nothing will ever compare. Nothing.
It was the best. They did it partially with him, cutting a hole in the floor, using part of his body so they could elongate the body, things of that nature. Also, another trick that Rick Baker did is the face that had the protruding mouth.
Yeah.
One side of it looked a lot more like the actor's
David
true
Naughton.
face. Yeah, David
I'm
Naughton.
a Pepper, the Dr. Pepper guy.
Yeah.
You're too young.
Yeah, David Naughton's true face.
Yeah.
And then the other side a little more demonic.
Right.
And when he ultimately transforms, another unique thing about this movie is it's a quadruped. It's not a biped.
Right. Exactly.
And
he's on all fours.
And Rick Baker and John Landis went back and forth about this. It was a point of contention with them.
Did Landis want?
Yeah. Landis wanted the quadruped.
He did. Oh, Baker wanted him to stand
Baker
up.
said werewolves are biped, and he's like, look, no, I want a quadruped. I want a hound from hell. And if you see that face, it's the most terrifying face of any werewolf.
It is.
In any film.
The yellow eyes.
Yeah, and just the upturn, almost smile.
The snout.
Smile.
Yeah.
It's just.
It's retarded good. No. And they did not have a special effects Oscar.
They were ignored.
They made it so they could give it to Rick Baker's groundbreaking. Personally, I think that's a little unfair. They should have tied it with Rob Bottin's equally groundbreaking work on The Howling. But American Werewolf was so amazing that they made the Oscar for that. And, of course, Baker won it.
Right.
It's one of my all-time favorite movies. It's in my top 10 favorite horror movies. It's probably in my top lower half of my 100. It's just an entertaining movie from beginning to end. It's so frightening.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's so well done. And one thing that I love that John Landis did here, and he also wrote the screenplay.
Also threw a "See You Next Tuesday" in there.
Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday.
He always has "See You Next Wednesday" in his movies.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it was on the billboard in the it was the movie he went to see.
Right.
In the porno theater. Yeah. One neat thing John Landis does in this movie. There's music by the great Elmer Bernstein, but there's also lots of songs. But all the songs he uses have moon in the title.
Right.
Bad Moon Rising,
Yeah.
Blue Moon, Moon Dance.
Yeah.
And it's a really neat thing that he does there. It's a class act from concept to execution, from beginning to end. It's just one of my favorite movies. I'll never forget the first time I saw it, and when I started turning it on to other people throughout my life, and now it's finally, at least by the late 90s, it's finally recognized as one of the all-time greats. Because it was a cult movie it made money, but it was cultish.
It did, but it was popular enough at the time that it immediately got them work on the largest music video of all time.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Immediately.
Thriller.
Immediately. They turned around and did Thriller. If you don't know, it was the same effects artist and the same director. John Landis directed
and Baker.
Michael Jackson's Thriller, and Rick Baker did all of the zombie effects. Not to mention the fact that they had just done a werewolf movie. They were very inspired, and they're like, okay, well, instead we'll do a werecat.
Well, that's Michael Jackson wanted Landis because he saw an American Werewolf in London, so yeah.
And he does the werecat.
He does, right? Yeah, that's a little weird.
Which looked creepy.
He did,
the werecat was good.
Yeah,
and
he wasn't cute and cuddly like the Silver Bullet one. But no, American Werewolf in London is a masterpiece. And now that we've talked about it, I think you're right. If you had a shotgun at my family and say pick one, it would of course be American. I have them on my 10 best of all time horror films right next to each other. Because you kind of have to do that.
It has all the scares that The Howling has, but it just has a little more fun factor to it.
It is more fun.
The characters are, I don't want to say there's no one that's unbelievable in The Howling, but
they're cartoonish, and that's not a negative.
Yeah, but
it's just the way Joe Dante presents his characters. Yeah,
but the American Werewolf in London, you act with your buddies like these two buddies are acting.
Exactly. And I tell you what, there's a scene.
It's got a sense of realism.
And David Naughton is just fine in this movie, though he's no De Niro if you've seen him in anything else.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, anything else he was in, never.
No, he's not good.
Never stunned like this.
He's a Pepper. You don't remember this. You're too young. But in the 70s, he was the Dr. Pepper guy in the commercials. He'd sing, "I'm a Pepper, you're a Pepper, we're a Pepper. Wouldn't you like to be a Pepper too?"
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah.
That was the 80s.
No, it was the 70s.
Was that the 70s?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I saw later.
But anyways, that's what it was. But there's a scene in the movie, and then we should wrap up. There's a scene in the movie where that's actually very touching. When he realizes he's a werewolf and there's nothing he can do about it, and he's going crazy, and he realizes that he's killed because he hears about it in the papers. He calls home. He goes to a phone booth in Piccadilly Square.
Is this after he ran there naked?
Yeah, this is later. Yeah, that's played for laughs. But no, this is later after his second transformation, and he realizes he's killed someone. He goes to a phone booth and he calls home, long distance call back home to. Yeah. He talks to his sister,
yeah.
And then he's trying to talk to mom and dad, but they're not home.
Right.
And he's like, "Well, tell him I love him, and I love you too, you little." And it's touching. And then he hangs up and he puts a knife to his. He's gonna kill himself. He can't do it, of course.
Yeah.
But it's a very good. Like we said, there's so much in this movie, and I was basically speaking to what we just said about the characters. They're more. I don't want to say deeply drawn, but they're more real than in The Howling.
Right.
Yeah. And again, that's not a negative to The Howling whatsoever.
Right. The Howling works in it. It has its own.
It has its own universe.
Right.
This is a different werewolf universe.
Right.
This is like real peeps getting caught. No, it's just again, this could be another one that gets its own show. It's just that good. It's phenomenal. There's so much to say. I think we've bullet pointed everything as far as I know.
Humor in it is
the humor is great.
Herb.
It is perfect. It's laugh out loud funny, and it's scream terrifying.
And a satisfying ending. It's
really good ending.
It's not one of those
Except
where
how
it's
did they not get her too? She's standing there in front of a whole bunch. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, go, bam.
There's a line of cops. She's standing right in the middle. How did they miss her?
They are excellent shots.
They are fantastic.
For people that don't really have
those British
guns.
snipers will get you. Yeah, exactly. But no,
the bobbies.
Final thought on this or anything we've spoken of today?
Final thought. We've mentioned some really good werewolf picks. If I were to give my choices of the ones to kind of put at the top of your list, obviously the ones we just mentioned.
Yes.
Start
American Werewolf
with
and
American
Howling.
Werewolf and Howling.
The Wolfman, the original Wolfman.
The original Wolfman, fantastic. Bad Moon.
Bad Moon, I would say, is the underdog of the show.
Bad Moon's on underdog. Wolfen.
Too.
Though you're not gonna. If you're a horror hound, you might be a little disappointed with it.
Except for a few moments.
Yeah, there's some legit.
Yeah. I would say
Bad Moon.
For me, the underdog of the show is Bad Moon.
Dog Soldiers.
Yeah.
Those would be the ones that I enjoyed.
All right.
The most.
All right. Well, yeah. There you have it.
All right.
By the light of the silvery moon, we did it.
Yeah.
Werewolves on film, sir. That has been our show. This is our longest show.
Werewolves of London.
Yeah. This is our longest show. But I think we have no downtime in it. I'm pretty sure. And hey, guess what? The last horror podcast I listened to was pushing 2 hours. So there you go.
Hey,
we're still under that.
Some run long, some
run
short.
Some are short. There goes the life of a podcaster.
Yep.
We hope you enjoyed the show on werewolves. We will be back very soon with another subject we have yet to discuss. And we'll let you know when we record the show what we're talking about. Because we don't know.
We'll figure it out.
This has been a fun one. I really love this one.
Yeah.
They're all fun, but I love talking about werewolf movies. Werewolf movies, yeah.
And that they have nards.
And Wolfman has nards. All right, folks. All right, boys and ghouls.
All right, Anthony.
Matt.
As always.
Exactly. And we will see you back here very soon.
Later.